25% of all wild sheep in North America live in the state of Alaska. That is roughly 45,000 wild sheep. Along with the wild sheep, there are 27,000 mountain goats and about 9,000 muskoxen here in Alaska that are all part of the Cabernet species. The Cabernet species is threatened by one disease that could cause die-off, and it is called Mycoplasma ovea pneumonia, or for short, MOVI. I am here to talk about the threat of MOVI, along with the impacts it has on our wild sheep, and the solution that a nonprofit organization has come up with. MOVI is it enters the upper respiratory tract, leading to deterioration of cilia. Cilia are vital to a healthy respiratory tract as they continually sweep pathogens up and out. Once damaged, cilia are no longer able to actively keep other pathogens from colonizing the lungs, leading to pneumonia. MOVI is therefore the igniter of a major pneumonia die-off. Wild sheep can die from pneumonia regularly, but this would make it a faster spread like wildfire sort of way. The only way that a wild sheep can contract pneumonia, this type of pneumonia, MOVI, would be from a domestic sheep or goat carrier. The domestic sheep or goats do not have symptoms like a wild sheep would have, or a mountain goat or a muskoxen. The only way to contract it for a wild animal would be to have nose-to-nose contact with the domestic sheep or goat. The impact of this, if a wild animal were to contract this, can cause wild die-offs. There have been documented 175 die-offs since 1970. That is 14,000 adult wild sheep. Now, most of those die-offs are in the lower states, like Montana or California, where they have bighorn sheep. There are documentation now of transmissions to Dall sheep, mountain goats, and muskoxen. If MOVI breaks out in the wild here in Alaska with our sheep, how our sheep travel and how our mountains are connected, this can easily have die-offs in the Chugach, the Talkeetna Mountains, the Brooks Range, the Alaskan Range. It can spread to the whole state. Here in Alaska, the hunting and viewing of wild sheep, mountain goat, and muskoxen contribute an estimate of 20 to 40 millions to the state's economy annually. If you were to take that away, that would be a drastic deficit here in Alaska and people's livings, and that's something that Alaskans are not happy about or even like the fact of that. The Alaska Wild Sheep Foundation has come up with a solution, is working hard to get this solution working with the domestic sheep and goat producers. Right now, there are only about 1,500 domestic sheep and goats owned in Alaska, about 150 to 200 producers. Thankfully, here in Alaska, there is no commercial grazing permits like down in the lower 48, so we don't need to worry about domestic sheep or goats roaming around grazing where wild sheep would be. The prevalence of MOVI here in Alaska right now is either 5% or less. So that's about 75 sheep or goats, domestic sheep or goats, that are currently infected. There sadly are no vaccines or antibiotics at this moment that exist that would kill off MOVI from the domestic sheep or goats. And right now it is still legal to import any infected animal or any sheep or goat into the state of Alaska currently. Alaska Wild Sheep has offered the solution of a one-time universal testing of domestic sheep or goats, replacement, quarantine, or export of infected animals, basically so Alaska does not have those animals anymore. Update rules on import of domestic sheep and goats, so it's a MOVI-free state. MOVI becomes a reportable disease. So if a flock had one sheep that was reportable of a MOVI, then the whole herd technically would have a MOVI too. That's how we would look at it. Monitoring program established by the state vet. Compensation to producers to offset expenses. This is done by the Alaska Wild Sheep Foundation. They have said that they will compensate for how much a producer thinks that their goat is worth. They use a third-party company to make sure that they are going to get the amount that they deserve and that the amount that the animal is worth. The whole process and everything could cost as much as $500,000 to complete. And that is all raised and provided by the Alaska Wild Sheep Foundation. They want to reduce the impact on domestic producers. Their goal is not to wipe out domestic sheep or goat producers here in Alaska. They want to have everybody together and work together and everything like that. We've looked at it on all sides of the stance, and this seems to be the best solution is a movie-free state. Once the solution is completed, there's minimized or estimated risk to wild sheep and goats and muskox. It comes down to about 0. This even means healthier domestic flocks and herds. Example, commerce in domestic animals without restrictions. They can import any movie-free diseased animal. And activities include use of pack goats could be permitted. No domestic movement restrictions based on movie. No requirement to euthanize or captured wild sheep that come in contact with domestic sheep or goat. And that is a big one. And then it significantly lowers the cost to prevent the fix later. $500,000 now or tens of millions later. That is the choice that's made. And in my bet, I would go with $500,000 now. And thank you.